What's up, ComSci community? Today we're talking about the top 10 tips for computer science majors. And you're going to want to stick around all the way to the number one tip because it's probably the most underrated tip that you'll hear today. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tip number 10 is to decide your major. Now you might be thinking, Tim, come on, I'm here because I already decided that I'm going to major in computer science, just give me the tips. Well, I'm going to tell you that most people don't realize computer science is actually the most dropped major. It's the number one drop major of any other major, and it has nearly a 10% drop rate. And I'm not going to get into why it's the most dropped major. We'll save that for another video. But I will say that it's something that you really have to consider before going into it. Tip number 9 is beware of maths. So math is one of the hardest part of computer science. And it's something that really tripped me up a lot. At the last university I went to before I transferred, I took Calculus 2 and that was really challenging for me. I actually ended up failing that class and I'm not ashamed to admit that. At the school that I transferred to, I actually didn't even need Calculus 2 at all. The highest math class that was required at the university that I transferred to was just Calculus 1. So that's something that you really need to keep in mind when you're deciding which university to attend, is they're all going to have different requirements. The number 8 tip is to learn to program before you go to school. There's a lot of challenging concepts in programming, concepts that you've probably never been exposed to. So I highly recommend that you get some experience programming and learning the fundamentals before you actually take that first class. Because it's actually, looking back at the first programming class, it's easy once you know the fundamentals and the major concepts of programming. But if you're not aware of them, definitely they're going to be challenging. So getting that experience beforehand is going to make a world of a difference. Tip number 7 is to find and maintain inspiration. If you're going to be studying computer science for 4 years, or really any other major, you're going to want to have a lot of interest in it. And in fact, if you don't have that to begin with, then computer science might not be the major for you. I definitely think it's a good idea to find things that are going to help you to maintain your interest and your enthusiasm in computer science. So what I highly recommend as far as maintaining this enthusiasm is to find YouTube channels that you like, or find blogs that you like, and maybe some peers that you can talk to. ComSci Central is definitely a great channel for that, and there's a few more that I'll link down to in the description. Tip number 6 is to make friends with your peers. And this is something that's really, really valuable. When I first started, I'm like, oh, I don't need help from anybody, I don't need to make friends, I can learn all this stuff on my own. But making friends is more about helping to learn the material. I mean, really, if you have friends, like if you miss a day of class, they can send you notes. If you're struggling with the problem, just working with somebody can help you solve it. So it's definitely a good idea to make some friends when you get into your computer science classes. Tip number 5 is to decide your specialization. A lot of people think that computer science is just a lot of programming, and there definitely is a bunch of programming involved, but that's not the only career choice. In fact, there's a lot of exciting stuff like networking, web development, and artificial intelligence that you can choose from. Tip number 4 is to work on side projects. Now, after you decide your specialization and kind of get a feel for which job or which career you want to get into, definitely start looking into internships. And then once you look at some of the things that are required in the internships, be it object-oriented programming or databases, which is required for a lot of jobs, then you can start to actually develop projects that are geared toward those jobs to really increase your chances of getting them. And they're going to look really good on your resume. Tip number 3 is to study efficiently and study often. Now, for a lot of people, for a lot of classes, what happens is you wait until the last minute for an exam or for a test, and then you cram the night before. And for a lot of classes, history or English, that's totally acceptable. You can do that and you'll still get an A. But computer science is not one of those classes, or not one of those majors, rather. You can't just cram a bunch of computer knowledge or a bunch of programming knowledge and then pass an exam, unless it's multiple choice or something like that. But as far as programming goes, that's not how it works. These are concepts that they take a lot of time for you to really learn, and you're going to have to work on them day after day after day before they really start to sink in. So most people today that are working toward a degree are also working a job. And if you're a computer science major, odds are you're also working on some side projects. So tip number 2 is to use your time efficiently. And considering that computer science is one of the hardest majors out of all the majors, it's really important that you use your time efficiently and that you don't waste any of it. Otherwise, you're going to get behind and you're going to end up in one of those situations where you feel like you have to cram, and I promise you that's just not going to work. So use your time efficiently, get all your homework assignments done on time, make sure you study in code every single day or do whatever it takes for you to learn the topics that you're covering in class. Alright, so if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Bob Ross would really appreciate it. So now we're moving on to our number 1 tip. So this is probably the most underrated tip, and I definitely want to be sure to include it, even though it has almost nothing to do, directly at least, with computer science. The number 1 tip is to stretch and exercise. Now, if you're a computer science major, you are spending so much time on the computer, and to get up and stretch and move around, not only is that going to help your body long term with the constant hours that you're going to have to be working, sitting in an office, but it actually increases your brain power. If you just spend the first 20 minutes of your day doing a little cardio, that will greatly improve your cognitive abilities, and then if you take a break halfway through your day and toward the end of the day and actually do some stretches, it's really going to help your body for the long term. You're really going to benefit from it a lot, not just in your physical being, but your work is also really going to progress. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll see you again next week.